Welcome. I am so ready to letter with you today. It is Wednesday and we are back to our normally scheduled lives on Wednesday at 12:30. So if you are watching the replay, which if you're watching this portion, you probably are, I would still love to know that you are here and watching with us. So I always like to ask where you're watching from. The internet is an amazing place where it gets to connect me and here in North Louisiana with you wherever you are. So let me know where you're watching from. And today I am going to be hand lettering a custom sign that was ordered locally. So we're going to do that first, and then I'm going to take some lettering requests. So as I get started, this, if you are new here, is a wood sign that my dad made. He hand makes all of our wood signs, and he brings them to me framed out. It's amazing. I'm super, super thankful for him. Hey, Sandra. And he brings them to me ready to letter on. He's painted them, sanded them, made them smooth as butter for me. And now I get to come in and I'm going to pencil in the custom request. And then you'll get to see me use a paint pen with it. So that's how I do all my hand lettered signs now. I started out with chalkboards, but now we just use paint pens and things like that. And then I don't have one in here. But you know, my hymns, they're different. That's lettering on sheets that are sealed to the board. But this one is going to say laughter with a capital L. And my first thought was, is this someone's last name? Like, I didn't understand the request, but then I found out that the person wanted this lettered because they want their house to be a house of laughter. And I thought that was so sweet. So, and look, I have 3 boys at home. And sometimes when their giggle boxes get turned upside down, I feel like I live in a house of laughter. So I was like, okay, that's, it's not up to me to know why these things are asked, but it's cool sometimes whenever I get requests and I hear the story behind them. So let's go ahead and letter this. I tried to zoom out where y'all could see the entire board. This is a 12 by 24. So on the screen, it doesn't look as big, but it's pretty big. And I've got us, zoomed out enough to where you could watch me freehand the entire word. And then I may come in and zoom in a little bit whenever I come in with my paint pen. But right now, and I get asked a lot, what do you do for centering? And I will tell you, over the years, I just eyeball it. Watch me say that, and then everything come out lopsided today. But I just eyeball it, I freehand it, and go with it. So in my mind, I'm like, I know I want to stretch out and take up the entire space. It's going to be a capital L. And then this is going to lay down some guidelines for me when I come in with the paint pen. But look, another thing I love about this word is the G and the H connection. I'm going to do my G, actually, or lack thereof. I'm going to come up, they're not connected, and do like this. And there we go. And then I'm going to come with my across like that. Okay. Now, this looks a little bit more spaced out than I would normally like. So to make up that difference, when I add in my downstroke, I'm going to come in on this side versus that other side to fill that gap. And then on my A, I'm going to come across like this. So it kind of fills out that area. And I don't normally do this with the penciling. I just kind of lay the bones and then go for it. But because I'm here live today, I'll just kind of show you my thought process on that. Come up. And it'll give you more of a sense of where I'm going to go with this. And then so what I do is on all the downstrokes, I just retrace in a new place and create the look of thickness. And the reason I have to do this, if you're new here, is because paint pens don't have a brush tip. So we have to do a method called faux calligraphy. And this is the method I teach in my Hand Lettering for Beginners masterclass, because it's the method I had to use when I started making signs. Even chalk markers, that's what I originally started with, didn't have that brush tip. So we had to make do with the paint pens, and it taught me to create the look without having it depend on the amount of pressure that I apply. So you can see how I'm kind of structuring out the letters. Okay, and then I'm going to come down on here and building on that original guideline. Okay, for the sake of time, because I want to make sure that we can get to requests. By the way, if you have a lettering request, let me know in the comments, because right after this is completed, I will jump over to that. I had some that were done in the comment section when I said I would be live. And so I have those, but I would love to also take some here as well. So I'm going to just come in now with my Posca paint pen that I absolutely love. I used to use this brand, and I still will if I'm in a pinch, but this is the brand I started out with, and this is the brand now that I love. They're both now at Walmart, so I used to get the other one because it was the most convenient, and I had not heard about these originally. But now that I have these, oh my goodness, it's so hard to go back. All right, and this is a medium tip. You can also get them in a fine tip. I'll show you the difference here. So that's the difference. So when you have some smaller lettering and smaller signs, you'll definitely want to get the fine tip. But today, since this is such a large one, I am using the medium. And then I just retrace those guidelines and do long strokes so that you're not scribbling, but do long strokes to deposit that paint on there. And sometimes, since I have the guidelines, it makes it a lot easier. I can just go from the bottom to the top, but just know that on where you went down when you were structuring the letter, that's the thick part. Okay. And I will still sometimes, even though this is the upstroke, I'll still thicken up the line. You just want to keep a good balance. But because this is such a large sign, I don't just do like one stroke. I will kind of go over it a couple times. Your goal is just to keep this downstroke obviously thicker than the other strokes. So sometimes I will accidentally get a little too thick on the upstroke, and it's okay as long as I've given myself enough space. Then you just thicken up the downstroke even more and create that balance. So you're just kind of always looking and asking yourself, where needs a little more weight? And this is a lot different than seeing those reels that are sped up. You can see in real time how these are done. So you can see too, this is, it's a process. You just keep going, and it takes some time, but the end result is so worth it to have a custom made sign. And let's see, that's what it would look like, but I'm just coming again right over the same spot and thickening it up just a little bit, but it's still obviously way less than that downstroke. Okay, coming over. And in my hand lettering for beginners masterclass, I take you through step by step, letter by letter, and I actually take each letter and letter it 3 different ways. So this is a style, but then I teach other styles too that you can really kind of play around with it and find your own one that you enjoy the most, or create your own style. The goal is just that you know the structuring of the letters, and then you have freedom to, get creative with the way, like for instance, this G and H not being connected. That is really the really cool thing about modern calligraphy, is that there's not a lot of rules. It's just the main rule is that downstrokes are thicker and upstrokes are thinner. And I teach you how to make your letters bounce, which means to go above and below the guideline. So you really have to kind of throw out all the rules that you learned in school about cursive, because this is not handwriting, this is hand lettering. So it's more of drawing letters and more of an art, but I'm convinced you don't have to be super artistic to enjoy lettering or be good at lettering. It truly is practice, practice, practice. Okay. Around. And then you'll notice how each letter will also build on one another. Oh, thank you, Kim. So see how this structure of this A, you can see again the structure here on the G. So we're just kind of almost drawing that A again, but instead we're going to come down and around. So Kim, have you taken the class? So the class is pre-recorded, and so you get modules of different lettering styles. I even have print letters in there, which I'm not doing right now, but there's print letters, numbers, because, you know, when you letter Bible verses or wedding dates, sometimes people will want to sign like this, and then they'll have established and the date that they got married. And so I teach how to do the numbers for those things. And then I also teach word connections and like double letters that are kind of tricky, like a double O is a little tricky. And whenever I get to the lettering request in a minute, I might show you some of that. And all of the lessons being pre-recorded means that you can watch it at your convenience and just open up the video, grab a pen and paper. Oh, another thing that's amazing is that you do not have to have fancy tools, because this method is so, you know, like you don't have to have a calligraphy pen. It's so user-friendly, simple. You can literally grab a Sharpie, which is what I'm going to letter with after this sign, and get started with whatever you have at your house. So I love that about it. And to be honest, unless you're addressing envelopes for invitations or doing a lot of paper lettering, this method to me is the one that you really need to know how to do, because if you're doing projects, then you're going to be working with paint pens, chalk. Well, you could use a paintbrush, but even with a paintbrush, when you get large, you're going to have to go back in and fill in anyway. So you really need to know this method. Okay, and then just come down. So we retrace in a new place. And fill it in. Again, not scribbling, because you don't want to, it just looks messy when you start to scribble, and it can get a little out of hand. So you just want to keep retracing in a new place until that balance looks really good and nice. So here we go. I'm going to come around again and just cover up those pencil lines. And this one, the biggest thing is to make sure you give yourself enough space to add in that thickness, because what I see students do a lot is they will draw out their letters, and then like they'll draw out the bones, but then whenever they come to add in the thickness, the whole letter gets thick. So I have a section in my workbook that talks about space it out. Like when you are thinking about drawing out the bones of the letters, just think, give myself some space it out, so that you do not have to stress about getting too thick all around. You want that definite upstroke and downstroke, and you don't want the whole thing to get messy. Now, another thing is I'm taking this letter by letter because I don't want to run into problems with paint on my hand. So I wouldn't draw out the bones and then come back in and add the thickness. I'm working with this letter by letter. But if you did do that method, then you would just need to make sure that it was dry before you came back in to add the thickness. But I have found it just is a lot more simple to take it letter by letter. And there we go. It just brings those letters to life when you add in the body. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and cross this T as well because my lettering is below it and I don't have to be concerned too much about accidentally hitting the wet paint. All right, 2 more. And I just go until it feels natural to stop. Like right there, it felt pretty natural to stop. Fill in that right there. Kind of go up. Now the R is a little bit tricky because you're going down and across, but I end up thickening up the entire section right there. I do from here over and then come down right here. Oh, I had a pin move over here. There we go. So even though I kind of went up and down, I'm not like, you know, like scribbling. Okay, now this is going to come around. And see how I left this off the whole time because my hand would have been over the top of it. So that'll be the last thing I add in. All right. I can't wait to give her this. She's gifting it to the person that wanted the word. Okay, let's go down. Balance it out. Now I'm going to also go over this again and just make those connect and flow together. Okay. There we go. What do y'all think? Thank you, Wanda. And I did notice just a little over here, like, see how this doesn't look identical right there? That's from me retracing a lot. So I'm actually going to do this like flip around thing, and I'm going to smooth that out. I know this looks funny upside down, but I'm going to take this and just smooth out to where the goal is to make it look like you never picked up your pen, right? That's what calligraphy would be, and we're doing faux calligraphy. And then I see a little white spot there. Sometimes the camera doesn't pick up the white spots that I can see here. All right, and then when that dries, it's like these Posca pens. I love them because they dry matte, and it's just, I don't know, I just love them so much. Like you can't tell where I overlapped. Oh, wait, that's not looking good. Okay, another thing, since I just saw that, I will tell you, when you look from a distance, you can see more of the, like, not flaws. You can see more of like when the balance is off. It reminds me, I used to be a cheerleader way back in the day. And look, I am not your typical cheerleader. I was way more on the athletic side, but I quit playing basketball and I wanted to still be able to go to the games and socialize. So I became a cheerleader. And I remember what they used to do is they would make us practice and the coach would look through us and watch our legs or our hands or whatever. And they'd be like, you over there, you're off. And I get it because it's like the coach was looking through us to see who was messing up. And now that I hand letter, I'm like, oh, I get it. Because when I look away, like from a distance, I can see where there's off balance. Whereas when I'm right up close to it, I can't so much. So like right here, this is another area, making sure all this is dry. That's another thing. They dry super fast. But this is another area that was not quite in line. So there's a lot of eyeballing. See how now that looks a lot better? Did you see that little off-centered thing? Okay. Does the E look too small? I mean, maybe. And so here's the thing. Modern calligraphy is going to be very up to the person. And so, yeah, I mean, I didn't think so at first, but now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of too small. I mean, when you compare it to the A. But does it make me think that it's like I wouldn't scrap the whole thing? I don't know. Because here's another thing. Do I have my book in here? I'm going to show you this real quick. Let me grab my book. I'm going to move this to the side and show y'all a page. Now, I know this doesn't really address the A to the E thing. Let's see. Yes, I mean, I would say that the E could definitely be bigger. But I'm going to show you this page in the book. Let me set that right there. Okay, I just didn't want it to get messed up. It's still got wet paint. Where we talk about bounce. And I talk about giving yourself a lot of freedom. Like, look at this word. That is not really my style. But when it comes to modern calligraphy, you have a lot of like ups and downs and freedom and all that. Mags asked what pens I'm using. The one that you just saw was this Posca paint pen, and it comes in a pack. Like, I've got a pack like this, and there's smaller packs like this. So the one I'm using, or I just used on the sign, was a medium tip. If you comment the word resources, it'll send you to a page on my website, and it has those pens linked along with a lot of my other lettering favorites. So definitely check that out. Now, when you comment resources, the link will be sent to you, but you do, when you're on the page, you have to kind of scroll down a little bit, and you'll see the picture of all the lettering favorites. Okay, Teresa says, I actually like it when the letters are different. Very new to this, and my letters all look the same, no bounce. So one way that you could practice that would be to just draw yourself a line like this and say, okay, I'm going to make this hit above and below that line. So if I got my pencil here, I draw this line. Let me bring this down a little bit since we're not on that big old sign anymore. You're welcome. Okay. And if you're interested in the hand lettering class that I was talking about, you can comment the word beginner, and it will send you a link to that class. And you can add on this workbook as a add-on. So like you can either do the class without a workbook. It does come with some practice pages that you can print out, but you can also add the workbook on, and it's free shipping if you add the workbook on to your class. Okay, let's see. I think it works because the R is a good bit bigger. I really like it. Yeah, there was like up and downs, right? Like it almost felt like the E was kind of hugged in. It was like the T and the R giving the E a hug. Okay, so let me show you again on this part. So I'm going to come in. I thought I got close enough, but maybe not. Bring this on down. Here we go. A little bit better. Y'all can see the camera now. Okay. But I'll do this word right here, grace, and it'll just kind of demonstrate. This is on page 151 if you already have a workbook. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to do this like I was doing the A. I'm going to bring it down. And then notice even that R, that loop on the R, not everyone does that. Like you could do, okay, but if you want to add some more character and up and downs, then you could come up high with your loop there. So I think, and so I'll show you right here, I think it feels natural to stop right here. So I put that I lifted my pen, and that's exactly what I just showed you. So I fell below that baseline, and then it feels natural to stop to me because the A starts on the right-hand side. And so we're going to make that A come around and hit that kick up. And then you can come down below that baseline again. And again, it felt natural to stop. So lifted my pen. So on the page, I'm showing you everywhere I lifted my pen because this was my idea to try to, like, there were no videos to go with this book at the time. And so I was like, I'm going to tell them everywhere I lifted my pen. I wanted it to feel as though you were next to me, even though you couldn't be. Lori says she can't do the R without the loop now. It really is fun. This is more how we learned it in grade school, and this is more like that modern calligraphy look. Okay, so now I'm going to do the C the same way I did the A to kick over. But see, here I hit the baseline. And then E like that. I mean, I don't really like how I went like a U right there. I would normally do it more like this one. Let's see. Like that. And then everywhere that I came down, I'm going to retrace in a new place. And what it does is it makes those connections hidden. So that gives you that calligraphy look without actually having a brush pen. And the reason this method is so nice is because those that struggle with like the pressure. So like, okay, see how those bones were in there? I'm coming on both sides. It's just to make it balanced. So I'm coming in and just adding everywhere there was a downstroke, adding in some weight. But those that struggle with like a calligraphy pen, you have to really focus on the pressure that you apply. For instance, I have one right here, okay? This same word, I have to be very careful. Right here, I have to press harder. I have to press lighter, press harder. It's more of a push and pull. Press down, come up. But every time is dependent on how hard I'm pressing that brush pen because this is a flexible pen. All right. On the flip side of that, this is more like the paint pen I was doing earlier. So with a Sharpie, you're just coming in, adding, and going around. So you get the same look, which not so much because I wouldn't normally go pencil over this, but you get the same style of the thick down strokes, thin up strokes with this. Now I had one request. I'm gonna check the time. I'm waiting. My dad's bringing my son home. And so when I see them pull up, I'm gonna probably hop off here. But let's see. Oh, I had one request that I was gonna do here live, and I'm not sure if she's on here or not, but we're gonna do it and then I can send it to her if she's not. I'm gonna grab, this is just a piece of cardstock. And she wanted me to letter, my fear doesn't, I have it written down, my fear doesn't stand a chance when I stand in your love. And have you heard that song? Because I knew exactly when she asked what song she was talking about. And so I'm just going to pencil it first and just the bones and see if I can kind of come up with a cute layout for it. Oh, there they are pulling up, but I've got time. I'm going to do this layout. Because I didn't see any live requests, so we'll do this one. And I will tell you, so there's a whole section in the beginner class where I call it lettering layouts. And so this is what we go over. We lay out and it brainstorms like, how do I lay out the lettering? And the technical term for that would be composition. So composition is something that hangs up a lot of students. They may be able to get letter by letter, but the composition is something that they struggle with. So I'm going to start because fear is going to be a word that is going to kind of stand out. So my fear doesn't stand a chance. Let's see. I'm reading your comment, Wanda. Oh, how funny. Okay, Wanda. Y'all, I'm going to put this here for y'all to see. Okay, so Wanda's grandchild knows that she's trying to learn hand lettering, and then she marked up their paper. Like I told you, this is totally different from handwriting. Almost, I will say, like I've had teachers in my classes in person, and sometimes I tell them like, oh, I don't know if you're going to like me by the end of this. So that was a funny story, Wanda. I love that. Okay, because you have to kind of throw out what you've been taught your whole life. All right. So I'm going to do my So I'm thinking my fear doesn't. I'm like processing this in my mind. Let me do my right here. And then this is going to kind of show you how I like to mix up print and the lettering together, which they're all lettering, but the print and the modern calligraphy together. So my fear, let's see. I'm going to do this D like this. This goes back to, I show multiple different ways. So this is one of the Ds. I'm going to kind of cover that up a little because I'm thinking I need to pay attention to my space over here versus space over here. Doesn't. Okay. Stand a chance. Okay. This is where we can kind of fill the space with doing up and down on the lettering. So let's see. I'm going to go a big S, the T here, A, and then I'm going to make this N go up. So that's going to be the bones of that. Stand, and then I'm going to do A, kind of small right here, and then just kind of box that in, kind of frame it out. Let's see. That was really bouncy. And then like you can also, when we want to fill space, you can almost like underline that doesn't. And you'll see these things a lot. Like now I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't frame out A. Maybe I would circle it. You'll see me go through this a lot with my digital dust when I'm showing how I create the digital dust files each month. You'll see me kind of do the formatting over and over in different ways. I might make this circle black and make the A be white inside. Because here, when she requested this, I thought, well, if I sit here and letter it live here, I can take a picture of this in a little bit, bring it into my iPad and make it an SVG file for digital dust next month. So my fear doesn't stand a chance. And then I'm going to put, let me think of which way I would do this. Stand when I stand in your love, when y'all get to watch me like really brainstorm right here because I'm thinking I don't really like doing print and cursive. I mean, print on print. So I kind of don't want to do another print word here. But then when I is not something that I really want to bring it, you know, like, I don't know, I'm thinking. Okay, I'm going to do. Okay. When. Okay. Okay, so I'll do stand in print again, just to kind of draw attention to that. Do a little different. I don't know. I like that one better. I like that one better. But it's not scooted over quite enough. When I've got the song in my head now. Okay. So what I will say is when I take a picture of this, I'm going to scoot some things around. That's the thing too about having an iPad. If you get into lettering, I highly suggest one because you can like lasso things, which just means putting those little marching ants around them where you draw. So I would take my Apple Pencil right now and I would draw this, select it, and scoot it over. And that's what I can't do right now. And I'm like, do I really want to sit here and erase with y'all over and over? I'm going to get the gist of it down. So when I stand in your love, let me do in print. And then I'm going to make a big deal out of your. And then love. I think I'm going to do it cursive as well. Okay, but even then, I would scoot this over some. Okay. Whew, I feel like I can kind of breathe. I was holding my breath. Let me know. What do you think of this layout? Oh, and then because there's a little space here, I could even add little hearts right here. Do you know this song? Let me know. Also, I never ask this, but would y'all mind? I'm just going to say the word sharing this video. That would be so helpful to me with the Facebook algorithm. I probably shouldn't say that word either, but whatever. It has become harder and harder for creators to get their stuff out. And I never think to ask y'all to do that. So there should be like a little arrow button. If y'all would share this out, I would be so grateful. Okay, and then I'm going to come up here just for the sake of balance, and I'm going to add hearts here. And it kind of fills that space. Thank you, Teresa. Okay, I'm liking this enough that I would definitely add this as a file next month. So if you're a subscriber here, this is a little hint. Now, I'm not going to come in and add every downstroke on here because that would just be real time consuming. But the good news is that you can see it come to life. I'll tell you what, I might actually make a reel of me drawing this, like doing what I just told you, where I'll take a picture of what I've hand lettered in pencil, and then I can create the digital file and y'all can watch it come to life. How does that sound? I'm super happy that she requested this because I love this song. I love this saying. It's super cute. So thank y'all so much. Oh, okay. Shay is over on YouTube and she says, love watching you format in real time. It takes me a minute though. Thank you all for your patience and sticking with me through that. Okay, well, that is all for today. If you just hopped on by any chance, then be sure to watch the replay where we lettered this sign that says laughter and then did a little bit of formatting. So, all right, thank y'all so much. And oh, Jenny, thank you. And next week, oh, I have something else to tell you really quick. Y'all need to join the I see my project over here and I really want to show it to you, but I'm trying to contain myself of excitement. I have a Christmas in July project. I'm a part of this. It's a collaborative online event and it's 3 days and it's free. It's 10 creators. We're all coming together in a Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group. And we want you to come and learn 10 different Christmas in July projects with us. There are other hand lettering artists in there if you enjoy hand lettering, but then there's also crafters. There's an embroidery specialist that, oh my goodness, she is amazing. And let me think, watercolor artist, a painter. So like, okay, let me send y'all the link. If you've already joined it, let me know. I'm gonna and tell me if you are in there. I'm looking at the creative. Let's see. I'm going to give you the link so that you can hop over there and join. Learnwithdanielle.com/ I was trying to remember creative little Christmas event, but it's got hyphens in it. So I don't want you to have to remember that. So I'm going to copy and let me see if it'll let me paste the link in here. Yay, y'all have joined. Okay. Here's the link. I don't know if it will let me send it. I'm going to try. Okay, great. It looks like it went through. Did y'all see it right there? And then let me see if I can't pin it from here. But that's the link if you want to join. And when you get there, there's a place to join the private Facebook group. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can get email reminders, because the way that this is going to work is each creator has their own time slot, and it's July 23rd, 24th, and 25th. We are really honing in on that Christmas in July. We're going to go all the way up until July 25th. And so, oh, good. Okay. I'm glad y'all can see that link. And we are going to each have our own time slot, and we will be live on our main pages, but then we will share that live into the group. So the group is where you will get all the information, and everything will be housed nice and neat for you. And each creator is coming up with, what they're going to do, and they're going to share that. And so I will be sharing in there. I want to grab the project so bad. It turned out so cute, and I want to show it to you on the screen right now, but I'm not. I'm going to show the group. And within there, I will give you your template so that you can, it's not just a template, the supplies. I don't sell them, but I'm going to tell you where you can buy one to be able to follow along with me. And it's going to be so fun to do it together. So definitely go over and join that group. And tomorrow is the day that I will share the project. And another thing that I've done this time that I normally don't do is I don't normally show what I'm going to do first and then do the project with you. I'm normally like just live creating with you. So this time you'll get to see what we're going to be working on first and what to expect. And then you'll get to have those supplies in hand with you if you want to do it. My template will be free. And then if you want to purchase the thing that I'm doing it on, it's not a sign and it's not chalkboard. It's not, but it is still lettering. Can't wait to show you. Okay. Let's see. Wanda said, if you use color in this design, could you feel the Y in your with red as it resembles the hearts? I could. Yeah, that's cute. And see, that's another fun thing about digital art is you can like go in and change the colors around like crazy, and you don't have to, like you can see what looks good, and then you can take that and like put it on a sign and be able to see, what it's going to look like before you paint it. So that's really fun too. Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Teresa says the suspense is killing her. Well, it's because I want to make sure that I've got the template ready for you to download immediately and have the link for you to purchase the thing if you want to do it. So, all right. I will let y'all go and get busy working on that back end stuff so that I can post it tomorrow in the group. But be sure to check out a Creative Little Christmas Facebook group here on Facebook. So, all right, bye.